All right, so today we are diving into something I find really fascinating. We've got these two poems, Gestapo 1 and Leçon 1. And right off the bat, what caught my eye, they're both bilingual.
Yeah.
One seems to mix French and English, the other Italian and English.
Interesting combination.
So we're going to try to figure out what happens when you throw languages in the mix like that, especially with like really intense emotions.
Yeah. And how these two poems, which use different languages, they still kind of get at these really universal themes. We've got love, loss, longing. It's all in there.
It's all in there. Gestapo 1, that first poem, it doesn't mess around. I mean, you get that first line, I'm closing the door, locking it, don't want to see you anymore.
Wow.
Talk about cutting to the chase. You really feel that, right?
It's powerful. I mean, it just throws you right into like the raw emotion of the speaker. And then there's the title, right? You've got Gestapo 1. That's not an accident, right? To like choosing that word.
No, that feels very deliberate.
Yeah, it makes you think about power, right? Control. This idea of being watched, maybe even. Like you can't escape.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, because the Gestapo, they were all about surveillance.
Exactly.
Okay, and then a little bit later in the poem, we get this, please, let me rejoice and just hide yourself. But the spelling of rejoice, they use a J.
Oh, interesting.
Like the French, ja.
Yeah. That's such a good catch.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like visually, on the page even, the speaker's caught between those two languages.
Oh.
Which, I mean, talk about mirroring what the poem's all about, that struggle to break free, to reduce, but also still feeling trapped.
It's like her language can't even decide, and that's reflecting what's going on inside. That's really cool. Okay, so we've gone from heartbreak to, well, Leçon 1. I feel like this one wants to teach us about life or something.
Right. What a shift.
Big time.
Even the title Leçon 1, right? Lesson 1.
Yeah.
Like, we're in for something more philosophical. Like, this isn't just one person's experience anymore. This is a bigger...
It's getting deep.
It is. This is deep.
Yes. And we've got Italian in the mix now.
We do?
There's that phrase, manca qualcosa. What's the deal with that?
So it means something is missing.
Okay.
And I know, right? It sounds so simple when you say it like that, but it really gets at this, I don't know, like a fundamental part of what it means to be human, don't you think? Like that feeling that something's always just out of reach.
Yeah, there's always that longing. And you know, it's interesting. There are birds in this one, too, which made me think back to the first poem and how it talked about escape.
Oh, that's a good connection. But yeah, the birds in this poem, they hit different, don't they?
They do. They do. It's more like, I don't know how to describe it.
In Gestapo 1, it's that really desperate, like almost frantic wanting to be free. But here, it's like this bigger, broader kind of freedom he's talking about.
It's like two sides of the same coin in a way. So, you know, at first glance, you've got these two poems, totally different, right? Different languages, different vibes. But when you put them side by side, what do you see?
It's really interesting. They both deal with this idea of absence. You know, like in that first one, it's the absence of a person, the absence of freedom. But with Leçon 1, it's more like something's missing, even when you find love or when you come face to face with, you know, death.
And it's like they're using language itself in this really cool way, mashing it up almost to make their point.
I know, like that blending of languages, it's not just for show. It adds this whole other layer to that feeling of longing, of being caught between different worlds, you know.
It's like they're saying you can't separate language and emotion. They're totally woven together. This has been so interesting. Thanks for breaking this down.
Yeah, of course.
And for everyone listening, that idea of something missing that we talked about with Leçon 1, does that resonate with you? What does that mean in your own life? Something to think about.